The sun hung high over the cracked asphalt of a dusty Texas gas station, the kind of relentless midday blaze that turns the air into a shimmering haze. Pumps hummed like tired insects, and the faint scent of gasoline mixed with the greasy sizzle from a nearby convenience store fryer. That's when it happened. A sharp shove, a woman's body hitting the ground with a thud that echoed like a gunshot in the sudden silence. She was mid-20s, athletic frame coiled like a spring even in defeat, her black tight shorts riding up just enough to show the scraped blooming red on her thigh. A white V-neck crop top, tied loosely at the front, clung to her sweat, dampened skin, her messy dark hair fanning out like a halo of defiance. Pain twisted her features, but her eyes, those fierce, unyielding eyes, burned with something deeper determination. Her hand clawed toward a small black purse spilled open beside her, fingers brushing the edge of something metallic that glinted in the light. A badge. Not just any badge. The words, Police Chief, etched in bold authoritative script. Two young men loomed above her, early 20s, their varsity jackets, one red and white, the other blue and gold, billowing like capes of misplaced bravado. The red-jacketed one, with a smirk that screamed small-town kingpin, had his foot planted inches from her hand. The blue one chuckled, low and mocking, phone already out to capture the moment for some viral humiliation. Bystanders froze at the edges, a trucker pumping gas, his nozzle forgotten midstream, an elderly woman clutching her lottery ticket like a shield, a couple of teens in a beat-up sedan, jaws slack as they fumbled for their own cameras. The air crackled with that electric pause before chaos, the bully's cocky grin starting to crack as her fingers inched closer to the purse. And then they saw it. The badge. Flipped open like a judge's gavel mid-sentence. Their faces drained of color, eyes widening in a freeze frame of pure, gut-wrenching shock. What had started as a petty power play twisted into something far more terrifying, the hunt turning on the hunters. If stories of everyday heroes flipping the script on bullies grab you right here, like this one already has, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Join the channel for more real life tales of grit and comeback that hit harder than a Texas thunderstorm. We're building a community of folks who believe justice doesn't whisper, it roars. Now, let's dive into how this ordinary stop for gas became the reckoning of a lifetime. Her name was Elena Vasquez, but to the tight-knit force of Willow Creek, Texas, a speck of a town hugging the Rio Grande where the desert meets forgotten dreams, she was Chief Vasquez. At 28, she was the youngest police chief in the state's history, a title that still raised eyebrows at state conventions and drew whispers of affirmative action from the old guard. But Elena didn't wear her achievements like a crown. She carried them like scars, etched deep from a childhood spent dodging fists and slurs in the barrios of El Paso. Picture this: a girl of 9, all bony elbows and fire in her belly, watching her father, a Border Patrol agent gunned down in a routine traffic stop, lowered into the earth under a sky too blue for such grief. That day, as the mariachi band played Cielito Lindo over the casket, something hardened in her. Not bitterness, but resolve. I'll protect the unprotected. She vowed to her mother's tear-streaked face that night, her small hands clenched around a toy badge she'd fashioned from foil and tape. High school was a battlefield of its own. Elena was the scholarship kid, the one with hand-me-down jeans and a backpack stuffed with library books on criminal justice. The bullies. They were the varsity stars, clones in Letterman jackets, the kind who ruled the hallways with football glory and daddy's oil money. There was Marco Ruiz, with his easy laugh that hid a mean streak, and his shadow, Tyler Hayes, all blonde swagger and borrowed bravado. They'd corner her by the lockers, hissing, wetback one-up cop, while crumpling her notes or spilling soda down her back. Once, in the parking lot after a pep rally, Marco had shoved her against a chain-link fence, his breath hot with cheap beer. Think you're tough. Go play pretend in Mexico. She didn't cry. She fought back, nails raking his cheek, knee to his gut, until teachers pulled her off. Suspension for her, a slap on the wrist for them. But that fire, it forged her. She graduated top of her class, aced the academy, and climbed the ranks with a ferocity that left seasoned sergeants in the dust. By 25, she was lieutenant in Willow Creek, busting meth rings and mediating feuds between ranchers and migrants. And now chief. The town council had voted her in over protests, her badge a symbol of change in a place still clinging to its Confederate ghosts. But power like that, it came with isolation. Elena's days blurred into nights of paperwork and patrols, Her personal life a ghost. No steady boyfriend. Trust was a luxury she couldn't afford after watching her mother's heart shatter post-dad. Her closest confidante was Rosa, her abuela, who lived in an adobe house on the outskirts, tending roses that bloomed defiant against the sand. Mija. Rosa would say over Tamal's steaming on the stove. Strength isn't in the muscle, it's in the soul that bends but never breaks. Elena would nod, forcing a smile, but inside the weight pressed. She was off duty that sweltering July afternoon, badge tucked in her purse like a secret shame. No uniform, no holster. Just Alina, the woman, not the chief. She'd promised Rosa fresh cilantro from the market, a mundane errand to anchor her humanity. The gas station on Highway 17 was a pit stop and wrote. The Quick Mart's shelves stocked with the basics energy drinks, beef jerky, and those little prayer candles for saints who never answered fast enough. She pulled her old Ford pickup into the lot, dust swirling like a warning she ignored. The tank needed fill-in, and the heat was a beast, clawing at her skin through the open window. She hopped out in those black shorts and crop top, gym clothes from an aborted morning run, tied at the front to beat the humidity. Her hair, usually pulled into a severe ponytail for duty, hung loose and wild, framing a face that carried the faint lines of too many sleepless stakeouts. She swiped her card at the pump, the nozzle clicking rhythmically as fuel gurgled in. That's when she felt it eyes on her. Not the casual glance of a passerby, but the lingering, predatory stare that every woman knows like a sixth sense. They were leaning against a jacked-up Chevy Silverado 2 pumps over, red and white varsity jacket slung over the hood like a trophy. Marco, God, it couldn't be, lit a cigarette. The flame flickering across features sharpened by 3 years and bad choices. Prison ink peeked from his sleeve, a teardrop under his eye, earned in juvie for that assault charge he dodged as a teen. Beside him, not Tyler, but a knockoff. Dylan, blue and gold jacket straining over a gym rat build, phone dangling from his hand like an extension of his ego. College dropouts, both back in Willow Creek after finding themselves in Austin bars and dead-end jobs. Marco's gaze raked her up and down, slow and deliberate, that old smirk curling his lip. "Hey, mommy," he called, voice oily as the spill pooling under her truck. "Need a hand with that. Looks heavy for a little thing like you." Elena stiffened but kept her eyes on the pump. Deep breaths, she told herself. Off duty didn't mean off alert. "I'm good," she replied, even-toned, the chief's authority bleeding into her civilian lilt. But Marco wasn't done. He sauntered closer, Dylan trailing like a hyena, their boots scuffing the pavement. "Come on, don't be like that. We go way back, don't we, Elena? Remember senior year? You always had that fire." His words slithered, laced with the poison of recognition. She met his eyes then, and the world narrowed. It was him. The shove against the fence, the scar she'd left on his cheek, now faded to a thin white line. Time hadn't softened him, it just armored his cruelty. The pump clicked off, and she replaced the nozzle, coiling the hose with deliberate calm. Marco Ruse, still picking on girls half your size. Her voice was steel wrapped in silk, but inside her pulse thundered. Flashback hit like a gut punch, the locker room taunts, the way he'd laughed as her books scattered. Dylan snorted, circling to her other side. "Damn, she knows you, bro. What's the beef?" Marco's grin widened, predatory. "Just an old flame that burned too hot. Thinks she's hot shit now, huh? Cop or something." He stepped closer, invading her space, the cigarette smoke curling between them like a threat. "Bet you pull over speeders in that getup, looking for tips." Bystanders stirred now, the trucker pausing his wipe down of the windshield, the elderly woman edging toward the store door. Elena's hand twitched toward her purse on the truck's bench seat, but she held back. "De-escalate. That's what the academy drilled. Walk away, Marco. This isn't high school." But he laughed, a bark that drew Dylan's echo. "High school? Bitch, this is real life. And in real life, girls like you don't tell guys like me what to do." He lunged. Not a full swing, but a shoulder check, hard enough to spin her into the truck's door. Pain flared in her ribs, but she caught herself, breath hitching. "Assault," she said quietly, more to herself the word a talisman. Dylan whooped, egging him on. "Get her, man! Film this shit." Phones were out now. The teens in the sedan live, streaming, the trucker muttering, "Call the cops," under his breath. Marco grabbed her arm, yanking her toward the ground. "Say it again, cop. Say it." She twisted free, elbow connecting with his jaw in a crack that silenced the lot. Adrenaline surged, academy training kicking in like muscle memory. She drove her knee up, aiming for his groin, but he dodged, roaring. Dylan piled in, a wild haymaker glancing her temple. Stars exploded, and she stumbled, foot catching on the curb. Down she went, asphalt biting into her palms, the world tilting. There, sprawled in the grit, her purse tumbled open. Lipstick, keys, a half-eaten protein bar. And the badge. It skittered into view, gold shield catching the sun like a beacon. Elena's hand stretched for it, fingers trembling not from fear, but fury. Marco towered above, fist raised for the finisher, Dylan hyping him with, "Finish her." And then they saw it, the glint, the words. Police chief. Marco's arm froze mid-air, his cocky mask shattering into porcelain cracks. Dylan's phone slipped from numb fingers, clattering to the ground. The lot held its breath, the trucker's curse hanging unfinished, the elderly woman's gasp slicing the tension. Bystanders' faces shifted, shock to awe, phones now trained not on humiliation but vindication. Time stretched, elastic and cruel. Marco's mouth worked soundlessly, eyes darting from the badge to her face, the girl he'd tormented, now the woman who'd eclipsed him. "Chief." The word croaked out, disbelief twisting it ugly. Alina pushed up on one elbow, blood trickling from a split lip, but her voice, oh her voice, was thunder. "That's right. Chief Alina Vasquez, Willow Creek PD, and you've just assaulted an officer. On camera." She nodded toward the forest of phones, the live feeds already beaming their folly to the world. Dylan's face went ashen, his blue jacket suddenly too tight, like a noose. "What? We didn't know, man. It was just messing around." Messing around. Elena's laugh was bitter, laced with the ghosts of old wounds. She snatched the badge, pinning it to her crop top with deliberate slowness, the metal cool against her racing heart. It transformed her, not just clothes, but presence. The athletic build straightened, the messy hair framing a gaze that pinned them like suspects in interrogation. "You don't get to mess around with anyone, especially not after what you did to me back then. But this is felony territory. Battery on an officer. Obstruction. And if that video shows what I think it does, you're looking at hate crime enhancements." Her words weren't shouted, they were measured, each syllable a gavel fall. The trucker stepped forward now, burly frame a wall of solidarity. "I saw it all, Chief. These punks jumped you cold." Marco backed up a step, hands rising in surrender, but his eyes, those eyes, betrayed the storm. Panic, yes, but something uglier, recognition of the power shift. The boy who'd ruled the halls now faced the woman who'd rewritten the rules. "Alana, come on. For old times, we were kids." She rose fully, brushing gravel from her shorts, the scrape on her thigh a badge of her own. "Kids grow up, Marco, some of us into protectors, others into this." She gestured at him, at the Silverado with its Confederate flag bumper sticker fluttering like a confession. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called it in. The algorithm of small-town justice already spinning. But this wasn't just about cuffs and court dates. As the first patrol car screeched into the lot, lights painting the pumps crimson and blue, Elena felt the weight lift, layer by layer. Flashback again, her father's funeral, the empty chair at prom because no one asked the cop's kid, the academy nights studying by flashlight to save on bills. Every taunt, every shove, had been a brick in this wall, and now cracking it, not revenge, but reclamation. The officers, her officers, piled out, faces shifting from protocol to pride as they spotted her badge gleaming. "Chief, you okay?" Sergeant Ramirez, a grizzled vet with a mustache like a broom, clapped her shoulder gently. "These the idiots." She nodded, watching as Marco and Dylan were zip-tied, their jackets askew, bravado evaporated into sweat-soaked shirts. "Red M their rights. And bag that phone, evidence." The teens from the sedan approached shyly, one thrusting her device forward. "Chief, we got the whole thing. It's already going viral." "Fogga station chief or something." Elena managed a wry smile, the pain in her ribs a dull throb now. "Viral." The word tasted like vindication. By evening, her phone would buzz with notifications, shares from Austin to Dallas, comments flooding in. "Queen, that's how you do it?" A digital army rallying to her side. As the cruisers hauled the bullies away, Marco twisting in the back seat to lock eyes with her one last time, Alina leaned against her truck, the gas fumes now a strangely comforting haze. Rose's voice echoed, "Bend but never break." She'd bent. Oh, how she'd bent. But here in the heart of a nowhere town, she stood unbroken. The elderly woman shuffled over, pressing a crumpled tissue into her hand. "Brava, Mija, my granddaughter's watching. She'll want to be you." Tears pricked Elena's eyes unbidden. Not from pain, but from the ripple. The way one moment could echo, inspiring the next generation to claim their own badges, literal or not. Word spread like wildfire through Willow Creek that night. The local diner, El Toro, buzzed with retellings over plates of enchiladas and coffee black as midnight. Did you see her face when they spotted that badge? Priceless! The waitress crowd, refilling mugs with a grin that split her lined face. Old man Hargrove, the rancher who'd grumbled about her appointment, slapped the counter. Girls got more balls than half the council. I was wrong. By morning, the story had leaped the county line, picked up by a San Antonio news van that parked crookedly outside the station. Elena, bandaged and briefed, faced the camera with that same determined glint. It's not about the badge, she said, voice steady despite the mic's glare. It's about standing up. For yourself, for others. Bullies thrive in silence. We roar back. But beneath the triumph, shadows lingered. That evening, alone in her sparse apartment, walls adorned with commendations and a single photo of her dad in uniform, Elena poured a rare glass of tequila, the burn chasing the adrenaline crash. What if she hadn't reached the purse? What if the bystanders hadn't filmed? The questions gnawed, a reminder that power was fragile, a badge just metal without the will behind it. She scrolled the viral clip on her phone, pausing at the freeze frame, her hand outstretched, their faces crumbling. Empowerment? Yes, but laced with sorrow for the boys they'd become, echoes of the ones who'd scarred her youth. Marco's teardrop tattoo, how many regrets did it hold? Dylan, the follower, would this be his wake up? Justice wasn't tidy, it was a mosaic of mercy and consequence. The fallout unfolded over weeks, a slow burn that kept the town and the nation hooked. Marco and Dylan faced charges of assault on an officer, a felony carrying up to 10 years. Bail was set high, their families scraping pennies in a courtroom packed with supporters and skeptics. Elena testified not with venom, but precision, detailing the shove, the history, the hate-tinned words that elevated it beyond brawl to bigotry. The judge, a silver-haired woman with eyes like Elena's own, nodded through it all. This isn't just about today, Ms. Vasquez. It's about patterns. The word hung, a thread pulling at the fabric of Willow Creek's underbelly, unchecked machismo, racial undercurrents bubbling since the town's founding as a cattle trail stop. Twists came, as they do in life's unscripted dramas. Dylan's father turned out to be a councilman, the blue jacket a legacy from his own glory days. Whispers of a plea deal swirled, greased by backroom handshakes. They're dropping the hate charge. A reporter cornered Elena outside the station, notebook poised like a sword. She met his gaze, unflinching. They can try, but the video doesn't lie, and neither do I. Public outcry surged, petitions online, hashtags trending, justice for Chief Vasquez, forcing the DA's hand. No deal. Full trial. Marco, meanwhile, cracked and holding a jailhouse confession, spilling old sins, including a cold case assault from 5 years back. I was pissed, man. Life kicked me, so I kicked back. His words, recorded and leaked, humanized him just enough to stir debate, redemption, or deflection. Elena's star rose with the scandal. Invites poured in, text talks on women in law enforcement, panels on anti-bullying in rural America. She keynoted at the state capitol. Her crop top traded for a tailored blazer, but the messy hair tamed only slightly. I wasn't born with a badge, she told the crowd, voice carrying to the rafters. I earned it through every no turned in to watch me. Applause thundered, but backstage, Rosa waited with a hug that smelled of lavender and home. Proud, Mija. But don't forget to live, live, the word challenged her. She started small, a date with Javier, the paramedic who'd patched her up post-gas station, his easy smile cutting through her walls. Coffee turned to dinners, laughter filling the voids. And the gym. Those runs she kept aborting. They became ritual, pounding pavement with podcasts on resilience, her athletic frame leaner, stronger. Yet drama shadowed the empowerment. A threat scrawled on the station wall. Chief bitch falls next. Anonymous, but the handwriting matched Dylan's juvenile record. Elena up patrols slept with her service weapon close. The chief's armor cracking under vulnerability's weight. Sleepless nights brought dreams, Marco's fist descending, her father's ghost whispering, protect the unprotected. She confided in her therapist. A first, mandated post-incident, unpacking the trauma like buried treasure. It's not just the shove, she admitted, voice thick. It's the echo. Every bully is a reminder I'm still that girl by the fence. The sessions peeled layers, revealing not weakness, but depth, the determination born from pain, the empathy fueling her reforms. reforms. That's where the story turned cinematic, a montage of change against a swelling score of hope. Alina launched the Willow Creek Empowerment Initiative self-defense classes in the community center, free for women and kids, anti-bullying workshops in schools, with guest speakers like her, badge on display but heart on sleeve. The first session, packed, girls in braids and boys in hoodies, eyes wide as she demonstrated a wrist escape. "Power isn't taken, it's claimed," she said, voice breaking just once when a teen shared her own locker room hell. Marco's sister attended, tearful apology in tow. "He messed up, but he's trying, and lock up your story." It hit him. Forgiveness, not yet, but understanding. A start. Months blurred into a rhythm of trials and triumphs. The courtroom climaxed in November, autumn leaves carpeting the steps like confetti for justice. Marco, shackled and shaven, faced the bench with hollow eyes. Dylan, beside him, fidgeted like the boy he still was. Elena's testimony was a masterclass, calm recitation of facts, woven with the emotional thread of history. This wasn't random. It was targeted. A continuation of intimidation rooted in who I am. The jury, 12 strangers, a microcosm of America, ranchers, teachers, a migrant farmhand, deliberated 2 days. Verdict: guilty on all counts. 5 years each, with parole eligibility after 3. As the gavel fell, Marco's gaze met hers, not defiance but defeat. A nod almost imperceptible. Respect hard won. Outside, rain slicked the streets, washing the town clean. Reporters swarmed, but Alina slipped away to Rosa's, where pozole simmered and stories flowed. "You did it, Chief," Rosa murmured, stirring the pot. "Not just for you, for all of us." Elena clinked her glass, tequila warm on her tongue. Satisfaction bloomed, not fireworks, but a quiet hearth fire. She'd turned victim to victor, bullies prey to beacon. The viral video had amassed millions of views, spawning a wave, women flashing badges, real and metaphorical, in their own standoffs, a chain reaction of roars. As winter dusted the desert in rare frost, Alina stood at her father's grave, badge polished in her pocket. "I protected, Dad, the unprotected." Wind whispered through the stones, carrying approval. Back home, Javier waited with takeout and that smile, their life unfolding like a new chapter. The gas station. Just a memory now, pumps still humming, but the lot forever marked. Plaque: community funded. Reading: site of empowerment, where badges speak louder than bullies. And in the quiet moments, when doubt crept, Elena remembered the hook, the fall, the reach, the reveal. It wasn't the end, it was the spark. A reminder that in America's heartland, where dreams dust with dirt, one woman's grit can rewrite the script. For every target turned titan, every badge that says it all. From which part of the country are you watching this video? Drop it in the comments. Texas, New York, California, or somewhere in between. Let's see how far this story's roaring. And if it moved you, like, share, subscribe. More tales coming your way.